Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga, wisdom, and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the roof of the Bhakti Center in New York City, this is Wisdom of the Sages with your host, Raghunath. And we have Kastuba here. He's off camera today. He's lost his voice. I'm going to just give everybody a little glimpse of our friend Kastuba. There he is. He can't do much of the talking today. So we call it all squirrels all day. Kastuba says, no. Welcome, everybody. We have an incredible weekends. I was wishing that and praying that Kastuba could speak because I wanted to hear all of his deep realizations from yesterday. But it was a very, very special day yesterday, especially because it was really something about the Wisdom of the Sages community showing up for their first Rath Yatra. And it's almost like if you have children, the first time your child goes to the ocean or the first time you see your child swim or ride a bike. It's like one of those romance periods. They're romancing Lord Jagannath. And it's one of the more exciting things for myself to witness everyone's joy. And it was a completely not of this world celebration. Before I get into this, Miss Mara is here spinning the dials. She fattened us all up. Her and the King of Hearts fattened us up with Donut Plant Donuts, which are a Krishna conscious gourmet donut place in New York City. We got to give shout outs to Mark Donut for this incredible stellar business he's had over the years. We should get endorsed by the donut plant. That's what should happen. Anyway, Mara, any announcements, dear?
I don't know what they are.
We're out of it. We were so wiped yesterday.
Are we going to do a show at 6 a.m. tomorrow?
We've got to. We're trying to.
Depends if he has a
What day is it tomorrow?
Monday.
Yeah, we could do it. Oh, yeah, I'll be at my mom's house. Okay, I'm going to stay at Grandma Terry's tonight. All right, let's do 6 a.m. So we're going to dive in. It's Q&A day. Sorry if we started at 10 a.m. today, but we had a whole thing this morning, and we wanted to get live questions Q&A day today. So we asked a bunch of the people that came with us on our Wisdom of the Sages retreat to write down some questions and come on up. And I'm going to start with Marilyn. Marilyn, you're the next contestant. Come on down. And Marilyn, I want you to sit right here. Sit right here. I got you. I have a tough time sitting and standing now. Come here. Come here, my dear. I want first you to tell me how you got into Wisdom Sages, how you got into Bhakti. Tell us your story a little bit.
I took my first yoga class here with Shama Mazda, and I get emotional.
Good. Get emotional.
Once she started talking about Krishna and just her voice, and I said, are these people real? They're so happy and no one's angry. And I was really full of pitta a lot. And that was it. I just kept coming back.
Nice. How long have you been listening to the podcast for?
I started during the pandemic.
Wow. So you've been here pretty much the whole time. Good.
Only a few at a time. I'm still trying to catch up.
you know what, we've created it in such a way that you will never catch up, but it's okay. There's always a new season to catch up. So you had a very beautiful, genuine, heartfelt question. Can you read?
Mhm.
Speak right into the mic, though.
Okay. What in holy hell did I do in my previous life that I keep getting and going through such difficult times?
Yes, the question was, what in holy hell did I just do in my previous life that I keep getting and going through such difficult times? Can anybody relate to that? Say Harry Bo. Okay, so you're not alone. People go through hell. You're here live. Come as close as you can, even if it's at the side of us, because. So that is a great question. And I think I always say nobody gets a pass from pain in the material. But the way you framed it out is sort of like tongue in cheek, but it's how a devotee looks at it. Because the flip side to your statement, what in holy hell did I do, is I've done nothing to deserve this. And you know what? There is cause and effect. We can see that every day. You know how I know? Because I ate 3 donuts instead of 1 donut. So there is an effect. There's a cause to my effect. There is karma. There is a reaction that you get from any driving out of the coloring out of the lines or driving off the road. So I like how you framed it, because it's based in a full radical responsibility. And when you take responsibility, we've all experienced this in the workplace, in the family, that when I take responsibility for what's going on, okay, I don't like the way my kids are behaving. How am I showing up as a parent, right? I don't like my income. How am I showing up as a employee? I don't like my relationship. What do I have to do in this? I'm going to get much more out of my personal growth when I stop blaming the world for their shortcomings and start taking responsibility for my shortcomings. So I like to say we never know what we did in our last life. But guess what? We got what we got. We got what we got. Now, how am I going to move forward with what I've got? And the entire Bhagavatam that we're studying is a compilation of great souls, majestic kings and princesses, powerful personalities who are also going through troubles, miserable troubles, like yours or worse. And how they react to that. They got what they got, and now what are they going to do with that? Now, there's different ways I've reacted in the past. People that I love have acted in the past. You get some struggle, you get some pain, you get some hurt, you get some betrayal. You drink your pain away. You smoke your pain away. You pill your pain away. You eat your pain away. You sex your pain away. Doesn't make the pain go away. We all know that. It medicates the pain for a moment. In the same way, blowing on a fire, a campfire, makes it go down for a moment, but that only gives more oxygen to ignite the rest of the wood. So by blowing on the fire is not going to go away. And by medicating our problems, they don't go away. But by taking the radical responsibility, which you've already corrected in your languaging, which is very powerful, because how we speak starts to reflect how we think. So what the hell did I do? We don't know what the hell you did, but you did something because you got something. And people say, oh, that's so horrible. You're so callous for saying that. Well, what's the rest? That life is horrible and the world is cruel and God's actually a demon and he's sadistic. Okay, if that works for you, if that's the way you want to look at life, try it. I've been there. It didn't work for me. I like that God is love. God only wants my growth. There is a thing of cause and effect. There's stuff I've done as a child that I don't even remember. I'm so damn obtuse. I do things in the course of a day that someone will say, hey man, you hurt my feelings before. I was like, oh, I did. I didn't even recognize it. So we have no clue what we've done, what to speak in a previous life. And we get some result. And I blame God. I blame my community. I blame my spouse. Radical responsibility means I got what I got. Now, how can I grow from this? Kostuba, you got some, look at Kostuba. Kostuba says in sign language, we don't know, but knowing the answer is not important. What is important is how we respond. That's right out of, what's it, Viktor Frankl's book of, right? Thank you. I hope that was helpful. Was that helpful?
Yes, it was very helpful.
What do you do for a living?
I'm not working right now. I used to be a paramedic for the city of New York.
A paramedic. All right. Thank you for all your service. We appreciate you. Hands together. Let's hear it for Marilyn. Cheryl, come on down. Welcome to the show, Cheryl from New Jersey. She's from South Jersey. She's a yoga teacher, studio owner, mother of 6, ex-lawyer. Now, no,
Heard lawyers. I'm an MBA.
oh, you're yeah, okay. So Cheryl, I just got to meet Cheryl. She's a friend of the King of Hearts, Bob Healy, and we had a great time together, didn't we?
Yeah, it was really special.
Was it your first Rath Yatra?
It's my first Rath Yatra.
What was your what was it like? Were you expecting it? How do you explain it to someone? Well, how do you explain it?
It is the most love in like one concentrated place. When I got first, I was trying to grab a rope. An older woman grabbed hold of me, put my hand on the rope, and then held me. Like we walked so far together. And I had that experience like multiple times.
And she was an old friend of yours.
Clearly, you know,
No, you just never met these people, and this person just grabs you.
She wanted me to hold the rope. You know, she wanted me to be, I was in the middle of her family, and they're taking pictures of it. It was just incredible to be so accepted.
That was beautiful. And the park was, I just want to share the park. We had the Wisdom of the Sages table set up. Kostuba couldn't speak, so he was sort of like manning the fort. And then we just brought in, we're all, all the Wisdom of the Sages people, they're relatively new to Bhakti, but the stars came out. We had like Kylie singing, Cody singing, Damodar Priya singing. She's veteran. Who else sang? Patrick was singing. Mallory was singing. It was beautiful because, there are like, they're the rock stars of Kirtan that come to this program, but we just did it sitting on the ground and just to hear the hearts of these sincere, newer devotees singing. It was fantastic. And when Damodar Priya was leading, Radha Swami came into the circle. He danced like he had descended from some higher planet. And everyone was just like mesmerized. And when it was over, Damodar Priya came up to me in tears going, I don't know what just happened. And
It was absolutely magical.
And sometimes that's all I can say is like, it's like magic stuff. It's like people, I want the world to experience like this. That's why, and we were all giving away cards. We were all giving away, handing out cards to people coming by. That's why when you experience that magic of Bhakti, and it is magic, you can't explain it. I was talking to Bob over dinner yesterday, and I said, I think the best trip I ever went on, me, Bob, and my son Rocco, and Janeshwar, my assistant in India, we all went to Muktinath in the Himalayas to get Shilas, to get these sacred stones. I say, it's probably the best pilgrimage of my life. And then he's like, do you think it's the best trip of your life? And I was thinking, like, I've been all over the world on vacations and stuff. You go to beautiful places like Kauai or Sardinia, or nothing compares to a pilgrimage because it's not of material goodness. It's of another level. It's out of the material realm. So even if you've been to the most beautiful places on earth, sitting on that floor in Washington Square Park and just singing, that is like a vacation you will never forget. It's not made up of the 3 gunas. You are transported out. Now, some people thought, and this is an interesting thing, Kostuba, some people thought, oh, Washington Square Park, I've heard about this place, how nice it is. Everybody's so nice here. It's so beautiful here. And then all of a sudden you step out of that sacred circle into the actual park. And then it's like leaving Vaikuntha, leaving the spiritual realm and entering into the world of the gunas. And let me tell you this, it ain't sattva guna. It is a rajas and tamas soup guna. Okay, so you have a question here. I forgot all about your question. What's your... Okay.
I read The Journey Home by Radhanath Swami. Was very connected to that seeking that he was on, and he would come to one teacher, and in my head I'm like, oh yeah, this is the teacher for you, absolutely. And no, came across a teacher who was not such a great person, had other bad things in mind for him,
Agendas.
yeah. And that's kind of been my own experience. This winding path of my life has gone many, many places. I feel pulled here. And I don't know how to find my guru. I've certainly come across some people that have shown me what it's not.
I hope that wasn't me.
No, not. I love that Bhakti has this devotional piece to it, but also the jnana kind of piece to it. The reading of scriptures, and that's how I got drawn to you. Was the Srimad Bhagavatam. I wanted to study it, and I couldn't do it on my own. I can't do it on my own.
That's a beautiful question. Can I take a shot at it? And then Pundit G will also take a shot at it. He's already. When buying a car, it takes some comparative shopping. You got to know about cars. And nowadays it's pretty easy. You can go on these car websites and it will give you, okay, here's what we think of the new Toyota RAV4 hybrid. And it's going to compare it. Here's 4 other cars in its class. So it's important to understand first what a car is, what you need out of a car, what you want out of a car. But unless you even know what it is, you get caught on the superficials. Like, why did you pick that car? I think it's a pretty color. You don't pick a car because of a pretty color. If you do, there's a lot of room to get cheated on the quality or the gas mileage or its engine or its capacity, etc. We don't pick a car on superficial things. So it's very, very good to do what you're doing, which is you listen to the podcast on a regular basis. Hearing the Bhagavatam on a regular basis is the gold standard for spiritual truth. And therefore, you'll start to develop discernment of what is guru. What is really guru? And then you'll also find that guru comes from Krishna. And Krishna is tagging certain people in your life to deliver the message of the Bhagavatam. And it may not be one sole person. The person may not be a Swami or have disciples, but the person will be tagged by Krishna for you. Now, that person may not be your initiating guru if you're looking for an initiation into a lineage, but they might be exactly who you need for now. And it might be 3 people. It might be 2 people. I find in my life that Krishna tags certain people that practically speak my language. And I found, especially when I was very new, nobody would do except this one person. And that one person was able to deal with my crazy mind that doubted everything and looked at everything from every cynical angle. And he could very quickly do psychic surgery on me like nobody else could. And Krishna will send you that if you're sincere. And all I'm saying is that one after another, they will be sent. But basically, guru is one because the message of the Bhagavatam is one. But it doesn't mean it may not come through different people. And then there'll be a person you'll be attracted to that this person, I want to take initiation into this line that they're doing as the service. But even that, sometimes those people don't remain prominent captains of your ship because you might not see them. And sometimes these are systems where there's institutions with an acharya, means a great master, a great teacher. Sometimes they don't ever have personal contact with that teacher so much. They can listen to their lectures on YouTube or on SoundCloud. But what happens is you'll have a person within your area or the person that is approachable that you feel is in line with that lineage that can give you practical advice. Because sometimes we don't need general advice like go south. Well, what do I do when I go south? It's like, you know what I mean? So Krishna will also send you that shiksha, that personal instructional person. And they're generally in line. Like if I was to ask the ask my initiating guru and that Shiksha guru, they basically have a very similar answer to that. Does that make sense? And as you move forward, Krishna will send like that. It just happens. Right now, the Bhagavatam, let the Bhagavatam be your guru.
It is. I mean, it is. I definitely see that discerning that happens when you start to really study.
Yeah. Or else we get caught up in, oh, beautiful beard, beautiful robes.
Great yoga poses.
Great yoga poses. That's the crazy thing about yoga is like a person is a contortionist and all of a sudden you're like, he must be a guru. He must be enlightened because he can do a handstand with lotus.
Yeah.
It's so silly. It's like ridiculously silly how that has anything to do with enlightenment. If that was the case, you got to just watch the children's Chinese circus because they're all enlightened beings. They can do a handstand with someone sitting on their feet and they can hop upstairs. Mr. Kostuba has an answer for this. He says, the Western yoga world has not always been the best conduit to guru. They don't really teach what it's about. They use vagueness purposely. That's a great point. They use a vagueness purposely. Educate yourself on what guru really is. Kripa Moya's book. So John V. Harrison's father, Kripa Moya. Moya's book is a good to help you understand. Look for a servant representative, not a quote enlightened person. Look for a servant / representative, not an enlightened person. That's great. Once you hear these guys say, I'm the guru. Guess what? Lost your qualification right there. A real guru is only being a guru because it's a service. It's actually a burden. It's like being a psychiatrist that doesn't get paid anything for it and you sleep on the floor. All right, here's
that vagueness that you really do see in the yoga world because your teacher will drop a little something in class and you go up and you try to ask, what could you explain that to me more? Could you give me the juice from that, right? The rasa from that? Nope.
No. That's for you to meditate on.
Right.
The problem is they don't know because they themselves have had no. You need a teacher from, you've heard this word GPS. When we get lost, we get a GPS. The new acronym is Guru Parampara System. Means there's a system, a real GPS, which is this Guru Parampara system. We hear from a guru, and then that guru has a guru, and that guru has a guru, and it goes all the way back to Lord Krishna. If you hear out of that system, you're forced to be vague. That's why when you read the Bhagavatam, it speaks authoritatively, not out of arrogance. And you can speak authoritatively because you're saying, when I give a class, I say, I'll before I say something very substantial, I'll preface it with saying, the great sages have said, the guru has said, the Bhagavad Gita states. You know why? Because it indemnifies me if you don't like what I say or not. If you don't like what I say, I'm okay with that. It's not mine. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm not meant to teach you Raghunath's cool take on yoga. That's not yoga. That's me trying to be self-promotional. And it also indemnifies if you hate the things I'm saying. You know why? It's not mine. You don't have to like it. It's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So yeah, there will be a vagueness unless we hear it from an authoritative source. And the yoga texts are that authoritative source. You just have to go back to the mother of it all. Kostuba says also, pray and serve and guru will come to you. I like that.
I like that a lot.
Thanks a lot, Cheryl. Harry Bo. Thomas Harry Bo. Come on down. Thomas Harry Bo has interesting backgrounds we will not mention on the show, but he's a great guy. Thomas Harry Bo, how was wait, come here, my friend. Get in front of the camera.
Hare Krishna.
From?
I live in Idaho.
Idaho. And how long listening to the podcast? How'd you get into it?
Since the first day. Yeah, I heard about it, I think, through an email in December of 2019. And then you guys started January 1st.
Wow. has been useful for you?
It's been awesome. Yeah. I knew about Krishna consciousness several years before, but found it hard to connect and was trying to claw my way back in, and you guys came along right at that time. So it was a wonderful daily connection to the philosophy.
Thank you, Babu. Glad to have you. We write each other back and forth a lot, but I'm glad to like connect with you in person, put my arm around you, feel good, feel connected with you. Please hold the microphone and ask a question. Oh, I would just like to, what was your realization? Was that your first Rath Yatra or you've been to them before?
I went to the LA Rath Yatra in 2016,
Okay.
but this one was special. Seeing the streets filled and the sidewalks filled with devotees, well-wishers, onlookers, all taking darshan, and then keeping that prayer in my heart. May this Lord Jagannath Swami be the object of my vision the whole day. It was magical. It was amazing.
New Yorkers are sort of like pretty cool. You know, they're like New Yorkers are open for anything. That's what I like about them. In LA, it's like,
And you don't people with the signs in LA.
yeah, in LA, we get those, what are those called? Those Christians that hate everyone except Jesus, Westboro Baptists. But yeah, I'm sure there's people from all religions, but they go out there and they boycott. You know, I was saying in class this morning, Kastuva, you know, it's funny because we have, you know, usually when people are carrying signs, it's boycotting, it's protesting, it's like shame on Verizon, or it's like we will not take this any longer. We're sick of this treatment. But yesterday, there's so many of the Wisdom of Sages people have these like big poster signs of Lord Chaitanya, Jai Jagannath. It was like we are protesting for God realization. So Prabhu, please read your question.
Super. Thank you. So this isn't a practical question. It's more theological. Just stuck in my head and I can't seem to reconcile. So I have trouble reconciling these two things. Number one, God is all knowing. There's no knowledge, even experiential, that he doesn't know, given that everyone is connected to him or parts and parcels. But then the second element is, and that might be a wrong presupposition. I might not have expressed that accurately either. The second is, at the heart of our philosophy as Gaudiya Vaishnavas is that Krishna desired to know what it was like to love him as Radha. So he came in the form of Lord Chaitanya. How does God not know this? Because Radha isn't an ordinary jiva. She's not a part and parcel. She's not even a expansion of Krishna. She's somehow one with him. Yeah. So how is it that there's some experience that God has no knowledge of and can remain all-knowing?
It's an interesting question, huh? Thank you. Here's my puny answer. You know, and this is how I've reconciled this in my mind. For years, I toured in a band. I might have said this recently too. For years, I've toured in a band. And sometimes when you come into the concert late, everybody's already there. They're excited. And they're like wearing shirts with your band, you know, with your band name on it. And sometimes you get on stage and they call your name or they start singing the lyrics. They call out different songs they want you to sing. Sometimes they'll even like jump on each other, jump on the stage, risking getting beat up by a bouncer just to like hug you or something. Now that's their experience. They are so, and when the lights go dim and like the pre-music starts playing, they get all, they work into like a frenzy. It gets really exciting. You know, when Shelter used to play, we used to have these prayers of the Purusha Shukta that would play. And everyone would start like going, oh, especially at these big concerts where you could feel the buzz of everybody else. And I, on the other hand, who's the singer and the songwriter, I'm coming off like a long trip on a bus, or I'm like sort of like slept in from the night before, waking up late, feel a little unclean, got to pull myself together, quickly stretch out so I don't pull a muscle. Shove some food in my mouth. We didn't have time today to get a proper meal. We had to do interviews today. And I get on stage. I was thinking to myself, they are enjoying this more than I am. Like I enjoy the 45 minutes or 50 minutes I'm on stage for the 23 hours and 15 minutes that I'm like slugging it out on the road. I really enjoy that time. but they have so much more pleasure than me. I can just tell they're preparing for it. They're thinking about it. They're buying merchandise. They feel connected. So, Lord, of course, God is all knowing and all loving, but they're in a separation that love can intensify. And the separate entity than God, the beloved, the lover is actually experiencing more love than the beloved. And so it makes total sense. Like, yeah, I want to feel what they're feeling. I want to go into the crowd, into the audience, and feel that type of love. Now, for me, this reconciles it. You don't seem like you're very satisfied with that answer. He's like, no, not good enough.
But you're not God. So it does make sense.
Come close.
Well,
I'm
it
definitely.
does make sense for you perfectly, but you're not an all-knowing being, so you wouldn't have that experience. So that's what I'm trying to reconcile.
Because by the very name, all knowing. Okay, Kostuba's got the answer here. That's why we have Kostuba here. Thank you. I bring it back to the punks. The Kostuba says this question is similar to the omnipotence paradox, which asks, could God create a stone so heavy that even he could not lift it? Right? Are you all powerful? Yes. Then can you make a stone so heavy that you can't lift it? I never thought about that. Right? There are strong logical responses to this kind of question, but I think that's not what we are really looking for here. We don't want to approach it like a debater or a detective. We can only understand the surface of it through that kind of approach. And that kind of approach being, could God create a stone so heavy that he could lift it? And the answer would be, yeah, if he wants to. That's the answer there. There's no real, it's hard to talk to Kostuba when he can't talk. And my sign language is very low. Okay. Oh, there's more. Oh, I didn't get that. That's what I was like, say it louder. I just said it. You want to hear it louder? Okay, I understand. There's more here. We need to approach it with humility and reverence and hear from people who understand it deeply in order to penetrate the paradox. The question goes right to the character part of the nature of for Krishna. Krishna penetrates our entire body. His awareness penetrates all existence. But the principle that governs his pastimes is divine love. By his own sweet will, he chooses to be aware or unaware according to what will best facilitate his pastime love. Love, pretty good. He utilizes his own special divine energy, Yoga Maya, which he allows himself to be influenced by. It facilitates Leela, divine play. I like that. Thomas Haribo, he's a tough nut to crack, this guy. He's hard to get. He's a tough nut to crack. Okay. Do we get a star for that one? Do we get a star for that one? Bronze star, silver star. Okay. Thomas Haribo, dedicated listener, dedicated devotee. Thank you for being part of our community, Prabhu. All right, let's bring up Scott Heating and Plumbing. Woo! Philadelphia's own Scott Heating and Plumbing. That's his nickname. How are you, Scott? Scott's hardcore guys. You can tell from the Better Than 1,000 shirt.
All right, Krishna, everybody.
What's your story, Scott? What's your story?
So I saw Shelter in 1995, and that planted a seed, and I watered that seed with a lot of beer and wine and vodka and bourbon and a whole bunch of other things, and that led me down a really, really dark path, to where there was only one way to look, and that was up. And thanks to you guys and the work that you do, was able to bring me to Bhakti, because I probably never would have come to here. I would still be in, I like to refer to it as the bottomless pit of despair, because I was in such a bad place. It saved my life, but it didn't teach me how to live. And you guys have brought me forward to a point where I can now take some steps to where I know how to live and how to live a better life. So thank you so much.
All right, well, so well spoken. Woo. Look at our live community. I just want to. Woo. All right, Scott. All right, so hold this, Scott.
Sure.
Say something beautiful.
You want to ask a question?
Yeah, what's your question, Scott?
So my question is that I've taken so many great strides forward as a result of coming to the show and being here. And don't want to lose what I've gained. So my question was that when I put myself through the ringer in this life, I mean, let's face it, you know what I mean? So when I get to the next life, what steps do I need to take in this life so that I don't forget Krishna? Like, why do we forget Krishna? And then how do we remember Krishna in the next life? That's my question.
Beautiful question. You know, it really boils down to this simple mathematical equation. To the degree that I hang out with people that are remembering Krishna, I remember Krishna. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it's really true. I know in my own life, when I get around a gang of people, I just sort of I go with them and talk about, okay, we're going to talk about trucks now. Okay, we're going to talk about, whatever, plans or this or that. Sometimes the things we talk about that are really way away from devotional service completely. Sometimes you can talk about natural things or growing things or planting things or natural living or cleansing or detoxing or traveling to beautiful places. But sometimes the things we talk about are things part of our work related things or part of our old habits, things that we're holding on to that don't really serve us. So when I hang out with devotees, like a lot of you, all of you, went on this weekend it was not just Rath Yatra, we had the whole weekend retreat here. That's a pilgrimage of sorts. And what's it a pilgrimage from? The rest of your busyness. Most of you didn't check emails, you didn't check text messages, you just sort of put your phone off. And you just were very present with being with this whole new community of people, having this festival as the centerpiece, hearing Bhagavatam, doing tons of Kirtan, Radhanath Swami dropping in, Janavi Harrison dropping in. Hopefully she's going to drop in later too. And just immersing yourself for 3 days. It's almost like you're doing a cleanse. What do you do in a cleanse? Here's what you don't eat. Here's what you don't eat. Here's what you don't eat. Here's what you do. You get a massage. You get a colonic. Yeah, you only drink water, fresh squeezed, cold pressed fruit juices. That's what you do, and that's what you don't do. So we need times for our body to go on pilgrimage. In the same way, our consciousness, our heart, our soul, you guys just did a pilgrimage. Sometimes you can do it for a day. We call that Ekadasi. It works really good if you do it in the 11th day of the waxing and waning moon. The Vaishnavas have this thing where on Ekadasi, I make it a special day. I do some extra reading, extra chanting. Maybe I won't eat so much so I don't have to, take care of cooking and all this stuff. Keep it simple on those days. Sometimes we go on pilgrimage, to India. And those are special days where people are sort of sometimes checked out from everything. They tell their work, I'm not going in 2 weeks. They tell their family, can you cover my bases while I'm gone? Because this means a lot to me. I know Michelle A. from Nashville, who listens to the show all the time. She was up and she came on me and Cindy's retreat at Super Soul. And that was like, she's like, that was such a good retreat. That was such I feel so good about that. I'm a mother, I'm a professional. I have, I'm a husband, I'm a wife. This was so good for me. I go, oh, great. Are you going back to Nashville now? She goes, yeah. I go, why don't you just stay for the weekend? Oh, she's like, I go, well, I can't. I got people at home. I was like, you got a good husband? She's like, I got a great husband. I go, he'll cover for you. I go, you come, we'll put you on the list for the Radhanath Swami thing Friday night. She's like, why are you doing this to me? And she just said, I go, you get direct flights to Nashville from New York City, real easy, real quick, real cheap. Just choose it and it'll all work out. And you know what? She left in ecstatic bliss. So sometimes we have to make that difficult choice. You know what? We're going. You know what? I'm going to do it. We'll figure it out later. It's happening. Carve that time, make that special time. There's the analogy of how do you get all these different size rocks, right? In the jar, you put the big rocks in first. What are the big rocks in our life? Taking sacred time out for ourselves. We even have that in the course of a day. It's sadhana. Our sadhana is a pilgrimage in our day where I do nothing else but hear and chant. That means I'm chanting without my phone. I'm chanting away from the TV. I'm chanting away from all other distractions. It's me time. It's my time, boss, where this is just for you, you and me. Sometimes people do that with chanting and singing. They say, you know what? I'm not going to practice harmonium. This isn't practice time. This is I'm singing to my Lord time. Okay. So this is also an important time where you have some time in the morning and preferably also in the evening. We start to sandwich out our day like that. We have work during the day, sandwich out little in the morning, little in the evening. Wind down in the evening with something sacred. Go to sleep with sacred thoughts, sacred images in your mind, not just like car crashes and murderous things from the movies, sacred things in the mind, and wind down like that. Then take 2 weeks and go on a pilgrimage. Mr. Kastuba, he's got some good stuff here. Krishna allows us to remember or forget. This is the Bhagavad Gita, right? He's a source. Sarvasya chaham hridisani vishnu mata smriti jnanam apoanam cha. Krishna says in the Gita, I am seated in everyone's heart, and for me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Speak to him in your heart as much as possible. So you run a big, successful plumbing and heating business. So this is what you do. While you're in the midst of that community, you're thinking of Krishna in your heart. You're never forgetting Krishna. You can even have, it's your business, right? You can have a picture of Krishna on the wall. It's not like a client's coming there is like, well, I want to buy a boil. Wait a second. Is that Krishna? I'm taking my business elsewhere. That's not going to happen. They're still going to.
Nisringadev is more appropriate. Nisringadev is more appropriate.
Nisringadev is more important for the. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you have Nisringadev. You have a whole altar in your office. Wait, because Stuba's got more. Express to Krishna. Express to him that you want to always remember him. It sounds like Kostuba's teaching from experience. You can see. Try to live in a way that express that you don't want to try to enjoy external things, which requires forgetting him and entering the illusion. That's a great one. And you're doing this by showing up at a 12-step program, by controlling your senses and your mind. It's a much different thing. That is love. People want to say, how do you love? You act love. You act love. You want to love Krishna? Do things how Kostuba put it so nicely and eloquently. You do things that won't throw you into illusion. And conversely, try to live in a way that is a constant expression of, I want to let go of the illusion and turn only to you for happiness, safety, maintenance, etc. As God in the heart, to recognize this desire of your heart instead of as God, ask God in the heart to recognize this desire of your heart instead of the programming of the mind. Hasn't our mind just been programmed? This will make you happy. Just go there like a Pavlovian dog. How was that? Good?
It's amazing. Yeah. And also Bhakti Recovery Group, Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for the plug. Let's hear for Scott. They're all here. All the stars are out. Gayatri, you had a question? Okay. Okay. Whose phone is this one? Oh, that's yours. Whose phone is this one? All right. Emma from Miami. Emmy, come on down, Emmy. Emmy is, I'm adopting you. It's my new daughter. It's okay? You good? You're mine. She's 21 years old. Great time to get into Bhakti, dear. So happy.
Hello. Hare Krishna.
So what's your story? What do you do? What do you do? What are you doing in Miami? How do you get into Bhakti? All that. Hold the mic.
I work at a print shop. And how to get into Bhakti? Well,
right in your mouth.
you went on I used to listen to Youth of Today when I was younger, and then
Younger than 21.
yes. And then like years later you went on this podcast called Angel and Z podcast. I don't know if you remember, but you went on it twice, and it's like they have like hardcore people go on. And yeah, and so I heard you then, and like you guys didn't talk about Bhakti, but like just life in general, and the way you were articulating things and speaking. I was like, he's on to something. Like there's something there that like I want to keep learning about. And so Joe Rogan, and then Wisdom of the Sages, and then since I found the Wisdom of the Sages, I just listen like every day. Yeah.
That's a beautiful story. I tell you this. Knowledge, when you get into it at a young age, like Emmy or Emma, sorry, Emmy, when you get into Emmy's age, it can save you from so much pain. Anybody experience pain in their 20s? Oh, well, good. You're 21. You got 9 years of bliss now. You take this stuff seriously, it can protect you from the greatest trouble. So what's your question today? Speak it right into the mic.
Should I read both or just the first?
Let's start with the first.
All right. Okay, so I'm wondering, can there be a clear distinction between having goals versus desires? If so, how does one not get lost in rajas when striving to achieve a goal?
I think that's a great question. Here, I'm going to give that to Kostuba so he can read it. Difference between goals and desires. And if you have a goal, isn't that rajasic? Like, won't that cause us pain? Because you're coming in knowledge now, we try to make our goals line up with Krishna Seva, right? How can I serve? Is this how you want me to serve? And, I've been playing this game for a long time, not super long, but 35 years or so. I still have to ask Krishna, even with my service. I mean, we do a retreat center farm. I do a podcast. I take people pilgrimage. I still on a regular basis ask Krishna, is this what you want from me? Do you want me to do this, Krishna? And I find there's either a whisper or a very loud command from Krishna. There's either a whisper by Krishna, if you listen, or a very loud command. This is what you have to be doing. Sometimes that comes in the form of everything just lining up perfectly. And even then, I still will go to a devotee that I believe to be more enlightened than me. And I'll say, what do you think about this? This seems like my opportunity is taking me this way. Is that a good sign? Is that Maya? Or is that a real sign? So if you line up, I think it's important to have goals. And everything I've ever done in my life that's been sort of like, feel like big in the world, doing music or traveling or doing like pilgrimages or doing our farm, all of that stuff was done at least 5 to 20 years before it actually manifest. With a constant in the forefront of my mind, I want to do this someday. I want to do this someday. I wanted to take people on pilgrimage since I was 22. And then I did it in 2005 for the first time. So that was like a 20 years previous. First time I went on pilgrimage, I said, I want people on pilgrimage. The retreat center that we have right now, that was a 25-year dream that manifested. And every year it's manifesting more. So I think it is important. And there's people who can help you with goal setting and things like that. But we don't just want to do goals. I want my net worth to be this at a certain, we're not interested in that. We're interested in, can this goal be tied in to serving Krishna's desire? And sometimes you have to ask, Krishna, it seems like this is what you want from me. You've given me this talent. You've given me this skill. You've given me this ability. You've given me this. You give me that. Do you want me to move forward like this? It seems like this. Is it a material desire or is it your desire? And sometimes I find that Krishna, both in my life and others people's life, gives them what they want, only to get to that place. And a lot of you guys can experience this. You want something, you get it, but you realize, I don't want this. I thought I would want this, and now that I got it, I don't want it. Or you want something and you never get it. And that's also frustrating. And then we have to accept, like, this may be Krishna's desire. Please grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We have to know when to stop pushing, when this is actually an over endeavor. That's a real question. When is this an over endeavor? And when is this Krishna's will? And I find that because I can be a little obtuse and a little bit materially motivated, I have to have people that I can use for consultants, spiritual consultants in my life. Is that useful answer?
Yeah, especially in regards to materialistic goals, you're very well aware that it's a materialistic goal. Let's say you're trying to sell something, it's how what's the best way to offer that to Krishna?
If you're trying to sell something, Well, if it's a purely materialistic goal, like I'd like to make some money. It's okay to be attached to making money, but in the material world, when we deal with things that have a tendency to create contamination, then you have to purify that wealth. So if you do make a lot of money, you have to give some of that money in charity. That cleanse wealth, you know? If you have material desires for sex, that's okay. You raise children. That'll purify you. You know, they talk about regulating sense gratification. Have a couple kids. It'll be regulated real quick. It'll be regulated real quick. You know, we've got, you know, you got a desire to go out to dinner, go to Divya's downstairs. So there's a way to purify what we have, right? Because you've got some ability to, you've got some enlightenment for us. He says something. I got something here. Some teachers of Eastern philosophy explain that the goal or desire is a symptom of our illusion. That any goal or desire is a symptom of illusion. You ever heard that? Desires are an illusion. Your goals are illusions. Is it they're a symptom of our illusion and must be renounced to transcend? We don't say that though. Bhakti yogas don't say that. The philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, excuse me, and the Bhagavatam is different. It has to do with realigning or purifying our desire, or as Shalter would say, perfecting our desire. Whether we call it a goal or desire, it is not important. What's important is whether it is selfish, in forgetfulness of Krishna or truth, or selfless, coming from a place of pure love in remembrance of Krishna and truth. There is a ladder presented in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. This is a great answer. Yeah, he'll email it to you. Isn't it interesting? If you think like I've got too many desires, I'm just going to put a cap on them. You can't. We are by nature the soul desires. That's what we do. That's one of the symptoms of our being. But we want to get those desires refined. Just like you might desire to eat. Okay, don't eat junk food then. Eat good, healthy food. There's healthy food and there's junky food. But you can't just say, oh, I've eaten so much junk food, I always get sick. I'm just going to never eat again. No, just eat food that's going to nourish. Just desire things that are going to make you actually fulfilled. Thank you, Emmy. We'll get Kastuba to email that to you. Maybe go around and give him your email address. Oh, Miss Mara, I think it's time. We are winding up. Woo!
I don't have anything to say. I'm just coming up.
Mara's got nothing to say. Kastuba can't say. So you're stuck with me just saying. Thanks, everybody. It's been a beautiful Saturday. It's been a beautiful weekend. These retreats, they're so good for me. You know what I mean? Sometimes we get lost in our little computer world and just to meet people. And by the way, if you come to me, and a lot of you have come to me, say, Raghunath, I've been going through this type of like hellish season of my life right now. The podcast has helped. I need that encouragement too. Thank you very much. Sometimes I get lost and sometimes this stuff gets exhausted. I've been on a marathon travel for the last 12 days and retreats and giving. And I'm dried up. And thank you for all that nourishment you guys gave me this weekend. It's been really special. Mara's been super supportive. Kastuba's been really fun to talk with because I do all the talking. Nope. Trying to help you out here, Kastuba. No talking. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us on a regular basis on Zoom. That means a lot to me to see that beautiful smiling face of yours. And look, Narayani's back. He was us on a whirlwind tour. Kastuba feels like Harpo Marx, he says. Ah, you need a little horn. Boop, boop. Good to see you at DTG. We are winding up this retreat now. I wish everybody on Zoom was here. Look, everybody's clapping. Let's get the 3D cam going. Look at these beautiful people. The message board is going crazy. All the stars are out. Jai Shri Krishna bolo Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna bolo Jai Radhe. Thank you, everybody joining us. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day. In minds and hearts bow down to Govardhan Hill. Haribol.